Hello, welcome back to my channel. This is day 12 of Here the Whole Time. Enjoy. Staying up late thinking of gay culture trivia questions for my imaginary TV show made me wake up late today. The morning flies by, and suddenly it's already time for my weekly appointment with Olivia. I try to organize my thoughts on the way to therapy. For the second week in a row, I have a lot to say, and it makes me anxious and a little worried. When I get to Olivia's office, drenched in sweat as usual, I sit on the armchair, grab a yogurt candy from the table, and don't even know where to begin. So, Felipe, how did the week go? Olivia asks, kind as always. You'll probably think I died and was replaced by someone else, I answer. She looks puzzled. A lot happened in the last few days. Things that never, ever, under any circumstance, have happened in my life. Her puzzled look suddenly turns to worry, and I rush to explain. No, don't worry, it's nothing illegal. Well, maybe a little bit. Start from the beginning, then, she says, always suggesting the most obvious option, which, up to this moment, hadn't occurred to me. The good news is that I completed the challenge. I talked to Kaio during the day, and we talk a lot. All the time, actually. It's way easier now. A wide smile appears on Olivia's face, and I'm happy that I'm able to elicit such an emotional response from someone like her. That's a good thing, Felipe, really good, she says, pushing the jar of candy towards me so I can get another one. Apparently, that's the reward for winning the challenge. I grab another one and shove it in my pocket. And then I start telling her about everything that happened. I talk about how good it was to hang out with Kaio and meet Rebecca. Olivia seems happy that I'm making new friends. I talk about how we went to the pool together, and even though I spent the afternoon sitting in a chair just watching, I felt like a part of the group, which was good. Olivia is happy that I'm widening my horizons. I even tell her about my new pajamas, but she doesn't say anything because that doesn't seem very relevant at the moment. Finally, I get to the part I've been trying to avoid because I don't know how she's going to react. But I need to put it out in the open, so I spit it out in one sentence after another, not even stopping to breathe. So, on Saturday, we went to a party, I drank beer, George and Bruno showed up, I told them to go fuck themselves. I swallow hard, waiting for the police to walk in and take me away in handcuffs for underage drinking and, maybe because I said fuck in a therapy session. Is this the part where I should think you died and were replaced by someone else? She says with the laugh that I wasn't expecting. I nod. Tell me more about it. And I do. The party at the square, the cans of beer, the insults, my sudden bravery, all of it. After listening to everything intently, Olivia takes a deep breath, scans her notes, and starts talking. Well, Felipe, about the drinking. She starts. I've already gotten the lecture. I learned my lesson, I swear. I say, holding up both hands so she'll see I'm not crossing my fingers. This is probably the silliest thing I've ever done in her office. Okay, moving on then. Confronting the two guys from school. Can you repeat to me exactly what you did when you felt threatened? Exactly? I ask. Yes. Including the curse word? Felipe, trust me, I've heard much worse in this room, she says with a soft smile, and I feel more at ease. Okay. I stood up, I looked straight at them, and said, Bruno, George, go fuck yourselves. And they left. To be honest, I don't know where she's going with this. You got up from a table and told them to go fuck themselves? No, no, before that. Look straight at them? And then she gives a little tap on the table as if she's just uncovered a mystery. Can you see how important that is, Felipe? You looked straight at them, not down. You faced them. I give her a small smile because, yeah, I did. I might not remember everything in detail, but I do remember looking at them. I suddenly feel like a superhero. Yeah, I did look at them, I say, a little astounded. I find it amazing how therapy always makes the most obvious things seem like a discovery of the century. Can you tell me what motivated you to react differently this time? Olivia asks. The beer? I answer, hoping I'm wrong. I wonder. This might be your challenge for the week. Replay Saturday in your head and try to figure out where that sudden bravery came from. Next week, we'll talk more about that. I make a face. This is the first time my challenge of the week doesn't consist of anything concrete. The challenge is basically to rethink stuff that I did and try to understand what was going through my mind at the time. I do that pretty often as it is, my entire life. I deserved a truckload of yogurt candy for that. And then Olivia stands, and I notice our time is up. No, no, wait, I'm not done, I say a little too hastily. Felipe, unfortunately, I have another patient in 10 minutes. I'd be more than happy to listen to you for a bit longer, but. Kyle and I slept together, I say, trying to snatch her attention. Her eyes go wide, and I go on to give her the quickest summary of the story I could muster without forgetting the important details. Actually, we didn't sleep together. We just slept in my bed, the two of us together in the same bed, and we fell asleep like that. And the next day, oh my God, it was never ending embarrassment because I had no idea what that meant. And then we talked, and apparently it didn't mean anything. But then I freaked out and realized that I might be in love. And that's not like we feel for hot guys in movies. This is real, and it might amount to something in the end. And then Becky called, and she thinks I have to make it clear that I'm into him, and I have no idea how to do that because I'm afraid he'll say no, because I'm afraid of a lot of stuff, actually. But, I'm fat. And when I'm done saying all of this, my voice sounds really weak. Olivia takes a couple notes on her notepad, then checks the clock, and her phone starts ringing. It's the receptionist. The next patient is already here. Felipe, we've talked about this during so many sessions, and I'm very proud to see how much you're growing. It's normal to be afraid, and it's normal to want people's approval, she says as she walks me to the door. And being in love is great. Don't think of it as a curse. Use this opportunity to get to know yourself better. Think about this week's challenge. Any last minute advice? I ask, desperate, half my body already out the room. There's no need to fear, she says with a smile, and I walk out feeling that I've heard that before. I'm in the town library. Olivia's final bit of advice brought me here. I don't really know how to explain the way my brain works, but when I walked out of the office, I immediately started walking to the library. It was here that my grandmother Teresa worked her whole life. It was here that I spent most of my childhood when my grandma used to pick me up from school and bring me along with her because my mom was too busy at work. I know every corner of this library. As soon as I push open the heavy glass door, I can smell the books. The smell brings a lot of memories, and I smile because most of them are good. Felipe? I hear a voice call out and find a lady sitting behind the corner at the reception desk. It's Marta. She always worked here at the library. She and my grandma were really close. When Marta greets me with a warm smile on her face, I realize how much I've missed her, and I didn't even know it. Hi, Marta. How great to see you here, I say, leaning against the counter. Oh, my boy, I'm always here. My children want to push me into retirement, but I can't leave the books behind. What about you? What are you doing here? You never come to visit anymore, she says jokingly, but I feel a sting of guilt. I realize that I haven't been back since my grandma died. It's true, I've just been so busy with school and everything, but now I'm on vacation. I came to catch up and look for an important book. One that I'm sure I'll find here. Marta starts rolling up her sleeves right away, ready to help me with my search. All right, which book do you need? Is it for school? It must be for history, no? Boys your age will only show up if they're looking for some historical thing. It seems as if they haven't been able to put all history online yet. No, no, it's not for school. I think I can find it myself. That is, if everything is still in the same place. Everything here is still the same. Nothing has changed. And she takes one look at me, and I think she remembers that my grandma isn't here anymore. Well, almost nothing. Marta pats my shoulder, and that's my cue to start my search. I walk down the main hall, so empty it's almost scary, and stop at the end to the left at the children's book section. I run my fingers down the book spines on the top shelf, searching one by one. It doesn't take me long to find the old yellowed section edition of The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, and when I take it off the shelf, I feel the memories coming back, little by little. I was 10 or 11 that day, right when being fat started becoming the reason for boys in my class to make fun of me. My grandma came to pick me up early from school. I don't remember if it was Indigenous Peoples Day or Easter, but I remember I wasn't wearing my normal clothes. So, accordingly, it was either an offensive headpiece made of paper or not so offensive bunny ears. You can pick your favorite to imagine on the story from here on. Anyway, we were walking down the square on our way to the library when we saw a group of kids from the school on the playground. I remember it had just been renovated and there was a line of kids waiting to use the new metal slide that would burn our butts on hot sunny days. Want to go play with the boys for a bit? Grandma asked, pointing at a group of boys from my class. Boys who, at the time, already had a list of nicknames for me and would use that list all the time without thinking twice. Because when you're 10 or 11, you don't care. No, let's go to the library, I answered, pulling my grandma in the opposite direction. Do you want to go play with the girls then? She asked me, and at the time I didn't understand what she meant. Now I do. I don't want to go, Grandma. Let's get out of here. I whimpered like a brat to see if that would work. She took my hand and we kept on walking. You need to make more friends, Lipe. I was just trying to help. Grandma's sorry, she said. I don't think I want to be friends with them. May I know why? I don't know, Grandma. I don't feel well, that's all. Is it that you do feel? Grandma asked, and I think that was my very first therapy session. Afraid? I answered without thinking, and my grandma went silent, not knowing what to say. I also wouldn't know what to tell a 10 or 11-year-old who's afraid of his classmates. Maybe I'd call the police. All I remember is on that day when we got to the library, my grandma handed me this edition of The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, which at the time was already old. There's a scared lion in this book. He learns to be brave. Maybe you can too, Grandma Teresa said, stroking my head as I scanned the illustrations on the page, searching for a quick answer that wouldn't involve me reading the entire book. Grandma was always like that. She always had the right book for the right occasion, and I, with nothing else to do, that afternoon, sat in the armchair and started reading. I remember reading until my head hurt, and at the end of her workday, I hadn't finished yet. I took the book home where I read it to the end. At the end, the lion kills a giant spider that was scaring all the animals, then he's crowned the new king of the forest. Right after he kills the spider, he says proudly, "You need to fear your enemy no longer." That was the part that stuck in my head forever. I read and reread it, trying to put myself in the lion's shoes, trying to see a way to defeat my giant spider to be crowned the king of school. For days I went to school determined to face the spiders, but when the time came, I always put my head down and listened in silence as my schoolmates chanted, "Chubby, fat, punching bag." 6 or 7 years later, the solution hasn't come to me yet, and today in therapy, when I heard Olivia say those words, I thought I could find the answer here. I'm borrowing this one, I tell Marta, sliding the book across the counter. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz? One of my favorites. We have a newer edition, revised, all illustrated, exquisite. Would you like me to get it? No, no need, Marta. I'm taking this one right here. It's special. Marta thinks for a second and comes closer to me as if about to tell me a secret, as if the library wasn't always already completely empty. If it's that special, you can keep it, but don't tell anyone I let you do that. Even though it's an old yellow book with some loose pages, it's one of the best gifts I've ever received, so I don't bother being coy and accept it right away. Thank you very much, Marta. I swear I'll come to visit more, even if I don't have to return this one, I say, waving the book in the air. Yes, do come back. If you come at 3 o'clock, I can even offer you a cup of coffee, she said sweetly. We say our goodbyes, and I take off. It's weird to come home from therapy and find Kaio there. Even though he's been staying here for over 10 days, I'll never get used to opening the door and finding him here, waiting for me. Well, technically not waiting for me, but let me dream. When I see him, he's lying on the couch reading, and judging by the silence, I already know my mom isn't home. I'm so glad you're home. I couldn't take it anymore, Kaio said soon as he sees me walk in the door. Your mom left, and I spent the whole afternoon out. I've been alone this entire time. I thought I'd die of boredom, and if that's even possible, it's possible. And I know because I've looked up "Can you die of boredom?" and discovered that yes, you can. My online search history is embarrassing. I know it. How was therapy? Kaio asks, dragging me back from my thoughts. It was good. Olivia was proud of how things went this week. Such as telling Georgia and Bruno to go fuck themselves, I answer without skipping a beat. Kaio seems shocked. She was proud? I need to meet this Olivia. Oh, and there was also the weekly challenge which I won. The one where I had to talk to you, you know? And, did you get a reward? Kaio asks excitedly. I did, but it wasn't a big deal. Still, I saved one for you. I take out the yogurt candy from my pocket and throw it to him. Kaio catches it, still excited, and makes space for me on the couch. I can't keep the whole thing, he says, but you helped me, and I promised you'd get a prize. Your challenge was to talk to me during the day, right? He asks, and I feel ridiculous because who needs a therapist to be able to act like a normal human being and have a conversation? Apparently, me. Yeah, that's what it was, I answer. So my job was merely to exist and listen. You did the most of the work, Kaya said, opening the wrapper and biting half of the candy. I think your share of it was to trust me and not think I'd lost my mind, I say. You haven't lost your mind. Not because of that, anyway. So there are other reasons? I laugh. Exactly, and one of them is that you've elected not to share this delicious prize with me, Kaio says, holding out the other half of the candy and wiggling his eyebrows in a way that is simultaneously funny and, I don't know, enticing. Okay, I'll take my share, I say, rolling my eyes and holding out my hand to grab my half. And then the weirdest thing happens, because Kaio doesn't hand me the candy. He goes to put it directly into my mouth. and reflexively, I just open it. For a second, the tips of his fingers are inside my mouth, and this is the weirdest, most wonderful experience I've had in the last few years. But, of course, my mom arrives at that exact moment, and the noise of her key turning the lock makes me jump, sending the candy straight to the back of my throat. I start coughing and can hardly breathe. When the door opens, Mom finds Kyla pulling my arm up, slapping my back. My face goes red as I try to spit out the piece of candy. Despite the choking that almost got me killed, I'm fine now, thanks for asking. I think my mom's arrival was timely, because I wouldn't know how to deal with the immediate consequences of Kyle placing a piece of candy inside my mouth. What do people usually do in this kind of situation? Do they lick each other's finger? Give a little nibble, maybe? I'd probably have a nervous breakdown, so yeah. Thanks, Mom. Right after she came home, my mom made dinner. We ate in front of the TV by force of habit, and now, lying in bed ready to sleep, the candy episode seems like a distant memory, and I choose to believe that. So, what's the challenge this week? Anything I can help with? Kaio says, turning off the lights and settling on the mattress by my bed. I think this time I'll have to figure it out myself, I say. Why? The challenge isn't exactly something I have to do, it's more like something I need to think about. To find out, actually. I need to find the trigger that gives me courage and to, I don't know, do things I normally wouldn't do. Something I need to find inside myself. It's a little confusing. Whoa, Kaio seems surprised. Yeah, I won't be able to figure it out in 1 week. I think it'll take longer than that. Like a month? Kaio asks optimistically. Like a lifetime, I answer realistically. And do you know where to begin this search? I think I do. I'm not sure. I got a book from the library today that might help me out. My grandma told me to read it when I was a kid, and at the time, I don't think I really got what it was about. Which one? The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. Have you read it? Yeah, I mean, actually, no. I know the story, though. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz is like the book everyone says they've read even though they haven't. Kaio, I can't believe you're that kind of person. I say in a funny voice to pretend I'm shocked. I actually am a little bit. Are you going to tell me you've never done that? Never. It's one of the worst character flaws. Character flaw? Kaio is feigning shock now. Relax, everyone has one or two, I answer, trying to calm him down. What are yours? Sometimes I walk into the elevator and press the button really quick so the door will close, even though I know there are other people coming, because I hate to share the elevator space. I admit. Monster, Kaio answers. Your turn, I say, turning this conversation into the character flaw game. Okay, sometimes I don't wash my glass after drinking water because water can't make things dirty, he says. Who'd throw the first stone for that one? I ask. Sometimes I accept flyers on the street and then throw them out in the first garbage can I could find. Sometimes I look at the phone screen of the person sitting next to me on the bus and judge the wallpaper as a photo of themselves. Yes, I yell. I can't fathom the amount of self confidence required to need to see one's own face when looking at the time. Sometimes, when my mom isn't looking, I drink juice straight from the container. Kaio keeps admitting things as if this is the most fun game on the planet. Sometimes I put bubblegum under my desk at school. Sometimes I flip over the doormat outside apartment 55 because I hate the woman who lives there. Mrs. Celia? I ask. The one and only. I hate her too. And we confess the night away. At no point do I find the courage to confess to more, serious stuff, but it's fun to tell him things that no one else knows about me. When the confessions get too gross, sometimes I take a booger from my nose and play around with it my fingers before throwing it out, but because there are times when texture feels really good, were Kaio's precise words, I feel like it's time to stop. Okay, no more confessions for the time being, because I want to continue to believe you are a good person. I tell him, yeah, I better stop right here, Kaio answers. I don't want you to wake up tomorrow hating me forever. As if that were possible. Okay, that was the end of day 12. Thank you for coming back to my channel, and I'll see you at day 13. Bye.